The Great Depression changed everything. For millions of Americans, it wasn't just about losing money. It was about losing dignity, comfort, and in many cases, the ability to put food on the table. This is the story of what people ate, or were forced to eat, during one of the darkest chapters in American history. When food stamps didn't exist, and soup kitchens couldn't serve everyone, people turned to whatever they could find. Often the meals were modest, sometimes they were ingenious, and occasionally, they were almost unthinkable. Bread and biscuits, often homemade, were the backbone of many Depression-era diets. Cornbread was especially common in the South, made from cornmeal and water, occasionally with baking soda if people could afford it. Beans were another lifeline. Navy beans, kidney beans, black-eyed peas, all cheap, non-perishable, and packed with protein. They were slow-cooked with salt or bacon fat, if bacon fat was even available. People became incredibly creative. They found ways to stretch what little they had. Milk toast, for example, just stale bread, soaked in warm milk with a dash of salt or sugar. It was often served to children as a comforting meal. Mock apple pie was a curious invention made from Ritz crackers, sugar, and cinnamon, designed to mimic the texture and taste of apples without using any fruit. Water pie, yes, you heard that right, was another Depression dessert, made with just water, flour, sugar, and a bit of butter. It was baked until it formed a gel-like consistency, almost like custard. It wasn't fancy, but it filled stomachs. And then, there were the foods that went beyond creativity, into the realm of desperation. Squirrel, raccoon, opossum, and even porcupine were eaten in rural areas, especially in the South and Appalachia. They were considered wild meat, often trapped or shot to feed families. In some regions, roadkill was salvaged. If a deer or rabbit was struck and fresh, families would take it home, clean it, and cook it. There was no shame, only hunger. In urban areas, ketchup soup was a makeshift meal. People would pour hot water into ketchup packets, often taken from diners, and stir it into a bowl. For some, this was dinner. Even dandelions were foraged, made into salads, teas, or cooked greens. And in rare cases, sawdust was added to flour to stretch it further. The resulting bread was coarse and barely digestible, but it was still bread. Children were among the hardest hit. Malnutrition was widespread, and many kids went to school hungry. In some cities, teachers took up collections to buy bread or milk for students. The Works Progress Administration, WPA, later helped provide school lunches, usually simple meals like boiled vegetables, potato stew, or cornbread. For many children, it was the only real meal of the day. Despite the hardship, communities came together. Churches organized stone soup nights, where everyone brought what they had, even if it was just a carrot or potato peel, and contributed to a communal pot. Families shared recipes in newspaper columns and on the radio, ideas for how to make something from nothing. This was the era of use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Even the government got involved. Victory gardens were promoted in the later Depression years and into World War II, urging families to grow their own produce and rely less on store-bought goods. These meals weren't just food. They were reminders of struggle, sacrifice, and survival. Ask anyone who lived through the Great Depression what they remember about food, and you'll often hear a pause, followed by a simple, bittersweet answer. We ate what we had. There's a weight to those words. They carry with them the memory of empty plates, quiet prayers at the table, and the stubborn will to go on. Today, many of us live in a world of abundance. Supermarkets stocked to the ceiling, food delivery at the tap of a phone. And yet, in times of crisis, economic, environmental, or personal, it's worth remembering the lessons of the past: resourcefulness, community, gratitude. The people who lived through the Great Depression didn't eat for pleasure. They ate to survive. And in doing so, they wrote one of the most powerful stories of resilience in American history. One meal at a time.